Now it's time for the men to ride cross-country. Darrell Price. Many have said that this USA rider could be a favorite. His kind of course. Andy Tout, the best Canadian. The Canadians are looking for another top performance. Remember, Alison Sider on the women's side finished second. Here's a man who has really come on strong recently. Henrik Dernies of Denmark. Not many mountains there, but he's a cyclocrosser. Ned Overend, the new Norba champion, his 6th national title. Overend indomitable, but may have a little bit of a cold problem. John Tomac is trying to redeem himself. He is the reigning world champ, but has had the most exasperating of seasons. Thomas Frischneck, he is the new World Cup champion. This Swiss is coming back from a slight ankle problem of a few weeks ago. Men's cross-country world championship, the final race of the season, the most important one about to begin. A huge field of men with over 22 countries represented. They have come from South Africa and even China.
And as always, Greg, a fast start is important because this course narrows down, and if you're caught near the back, you're going to have trouble getting by lesser accomplished racers. Each lap is 5.4 miles. The men will do 5.5 laps. There's nearly 1,500 feet of climbing, nearly 30 miles, and a third of it is single track. Peter Rick of Czechoslovakia gives an indication of what kind of international race this is going to be. He's in the lead with John Tomac just behind. That's Warren Salenbach of Canada in third.
Look at Tomac, though, already leaning out over the handlebars, grinding at it as if he were in the final few meters of the course. There's been so much speculation about the way Tomac has ridden this year. Has he ridden intelligently? Has he ridden too hard and too early too hard?
Well, Greg, we'll probably get into this later, but he's lost maybe a little bit of climbing fitness. Last year he raced on the road. That really helped him in the hills. This year he's an off-road specialist, but he's now in the lead, and that's Henrik Dernies just behind. John Tomac exactly where he wants to be, #1 in first place early on the first lap.
And for the Dane Dernies, a good spot to be. This is Salenbach of Canada in third. Dernies can let Tomac set the pace. He knows if he stays with him, he's in contention. Plus, he's got almost 100 riders behind him that he doesn't have to contend with.
Dernies had a hernia operation back in April, missed a good part of the early season. Now he's back on top form. That's Peter Rick, 4th place. 5th place, David Baker of Great Britain. 5 nations represented in the top 5.
Darrell Price of the USA trying to make his move. David Baker has been somewhat overshadowed by Tim Gould, the top British rider. But Baker, many say, is the new star of Great Britain's mountain bike scene. John Tomac, defending world champion, in the lead. But look at the faces. It tells the story here. Tomac already looks to be struggling. The Dane Dernies is riding smoothly. Who will prevail? We'll return to Bromont for more. Greg Lewis and Tim Blumenthal, Bromont, Quebec, the Mountain Bike World Championships. The new leader at this point is Gerhard Zdrobelek of Austria. This is Great Britain's David Baker, and the Danes, Henrik Dernies, followed by the first USA rider and the defending champion, John Tomac. This is Darrell Price, and we talked about it at the top of the show, Tim. This may be the day that mountain biking changes. We saw it in the women's event, the Europeans dominating, and once again here, it's the Europeans who are the favorites. Now it's David Baker, #1.
And in 6th place, 1 minute back, it's Thomas Frischneck. And he has medaled every year in the World Championship as Gerhard Zdrobelek goes over the top of the climb. Tomac having trouble, actually has to get off his bike. Darrell Price passes him.
Toe mechanical, is that what it is? He has had so many problems with flats, with chain brakes, and there's been some speculation about the reason for those chain brakes.
Well, it maybe has to do with his style of riding. Thomas Frischneck is very smooth, very light on the pedals. Tomac is very hard on his bike, both on the downhills and on the climb. Sometimes he has to shift right in mid-course. That puts a lot of pressure on the chain. These are the leaders.
David Baker. Dernies.
Bit of a gap has opened up here, Greg.
A Brit and a Dane are #1 and #2. What a surprise. Neither from a mountainous country.
Well, back at the World Cup finals in Vail, 12 of the top 15 finishers were Americans. But here the leaders are all Europeans. And in Vail at the World Cup finals, Gerhard Zdrobelek there, he was nowhere. He couldn't do anything. But now we've come back to sea levels. Zdrobelek is only 20 seconds behind in 3rd place, very much in contention for a medal.
David Baker. And we see the cyclocross form of Dernice. He is the Danish cyclocross champion, and in the '91 World Amateur Cyclocross Championships was second. John Tomac, like the bird of prey, swooping down on everyone else, but the swooping hasn't been working this season. Darrell Price, Specialized, Ned Overend's teammate. Tomac 33 seconds back, and it does not bode well for him because the second half of races this season has been the troubling half. He's not able to come back like a Ned Overend. And there's Drobalek.
Looks pretty good in the technical section there.
He's got a lot to prove here, Tim, because he decided not to race for the Austrian national team because they made a sponsorship decision which would have forced him to not represent his sponsor who's been with him all season. So he came as an independent, and he wants to prove how wrong they were to not make some concessions to him. David Baker. Double river crossings here, typical of the technical nature of this course. Dernice right behind.
John Tomac, he's laboring. And his teammate Darrell Price is just behind. Maybe he's coming forward. Look at Thomas Frischknecht running. He's moving up, heading towards the meadows. We'll be back.
2/3 of the way through this 5.5 lap race. It is Henrik Dernice of Denmark who has established a solid lead and, well, off the bike in cyclocross style for this Danish cyclocross champion.
And look at the great Swiss rider, Thomas Frischknecht. He's in 3rd place now. He really hasn't picked up any time, but the others have faltered. He's 1:14 behind.
It has been the year of Frischknecht. He has won more races on the World Cup than anyone else. Dernice now trying to pick up his first win of the season. Downhill technical section. Excellent bike handling skills for this 26-year-old Dane. Others, Zdrobalek among them, beginning to labor on the climbs. Zdrobalek has dropped 134 back. Thomas Frischknecht and David Baker behind him.
Baker has been anemic all season, really has battled poor health. Henrik Dernice looking very good, very smooth. The question now is, can he maintain this pace to the end?
Here's Darrell Price, the top American rider, but at 2:30 back, Price has to hope for some problems ahead.
He looks spent, Greg. He really doesn't look like he's going forward towards a medal. This is Price's kind of course, perfect. A little bit of single track, good climbing. He's been on very good form, improving form, but he's just not having a good day.
Frischknecht trying to catch Dernice. He has proven himself through the season to be the stronger rider, but has he perhaps spent so much in the effort that he doesn't have anything left for this one race where Dernice has just risen to the occasion? Baker, another cyclocross star out of Great Britain, of course, able to ride through this muddy section. And it is so greasy here, I think that most everyday riders would never have a chance. The story of the trail is splattered on the face of Dernice as he makes a climb up the lift line. And Dernice, as you mentioned earlier, having had a hernia operation, something I've had myself, Tim Blumenthal, and it was several weeks before I could ride comfortably at all on my bike. So I'm doubly impressed with what he's able to do here on this rough and bouncy course.
Well, Greg, you make an excellent point, and the point is this, that it actually may be an asset for Henrik Dernice, as we saw Thomas Frischknecht go down the hill, followed by David Baker. It may be an asset in that he got to rest for much of the season. Thomas Frischknecht has been racing full bore since the beginning of April. The same is true for Darrell Price. This has been the longest and toughest mountain bike season ever.
But only a few miles remain. The leader and the winner of the World Championship when we return. Thomas Frischknecht in the waning miles of this race. The number 2 on his bicycle. He has been twice second in the World Championships. He wants the victory. David Baker's in 3rd right now. The man who's still out in front is Henrik Dernice. This is Gerhard Zdrobalek in 4th. Can Dernice hold off the charge of Thomas Frischknecht, who is by far the more powerful rider this year? How does Dernice look?
He looks pretty smooth, Greg. Well in control, but not really dynamic. I mean, that's not really an aggressive, forward-looking technique.
Whereas Thomas Frischknecht is on the attack. Frischknecht, remember, twice second in these World Championships. Another second, it really means nothing to him. He wants the glory of victory.
Well, if there is one consolation as we look at Darryl Price, it's that Frischknecht is a teammate of Henrik Dernice. They both ride for Richie. And there's Dernice, looking very smooth.
On the attack, Frischknecht. Cheers from the crowd. This man has been really the dominant rider all season.
2.5 hours into this bike race.
And now getting lapped by Dernice is another rider.
He has just 1/2 of a lap to go. He'll probably get an exact time split from the announcer. David Baker being cheered on by his British teammates. 2:41 behind, and now maybe for him the bronze medal is in question.
Imagine this. The last 2 World Championships, the only 2 World Championships, Americans have finished #1 in both the men's and women's competition. Right now, there isn't an American in the top 4 in this men's event, and the women's race was won by a Swiss.
This is totally unexpected. Gerhard Zdrobalek still has a shot at the medal. He's in 4th place. Henrik Dernice is looking absolutely excellent. Coming up, lapping another rider. He has less than 4 kilometers to go to the finish line.
Spackled with mud, he may be spotlighted with glory here before long. Here's Frischknecht, still trying to make the move, but at 2:12 back is losing time. It appears that only a mechanical could save him now. But Dernice is riding smoothly, not overworking his equipment.
This is where he's done well all day. Really smooth through the technical sections. Frischknecht's going to let it hang out a little bit. It's his last chance. May not be enough, though. And there's David Baker in 3rd place, losing more time. I think he's nearly spent. And he's going to lose more time as he passes lapped riders.
Coming into the finish, it's Dernice. It is everything for him now. No way he can lose this. The Dane, though this man Frischknecht has pursued him relentlessly, has managed to hold off the World Cup champion. And Dernice now relaxes, hands overhead, victorious as he comes through the final meters of the course, knowing that victory and a World Championship is his. A non-mountainous country takes the mountain bike world title. The new world champion, the first European champion in men's mountain bike racing, Henrik Dernice. Second place, the World Cup champion, Thomas Frischknecht of Switzerland. It's a Dane and a Swiss, 1 and 2. Can the American Darryl Price have pulled into 3rd? No, it's David Baker of Great Britain. Gold, silver, and bronze are going to go back across the Atlantic in an all-American sport. Not all-American anymore.
I had a hernia operation this spring, so I had some hard times to find my form, so I haven't been going all summer, but in June it was started to go a little bit better. I got a 5th in Mont Saint-Anne, the World Cup race, and then 3 weeks ago I got a 2nd in the Grundig World Cup in Germany, and from that off I just keep trained a lot with Thomas Frischknecht, and it just been going better and better every day.
From Austria, riding for GT. The highest placed rider and not on the national team of Slovakia. This is Peter. Fifth place across the line.
Anything but American, Greg. Darryl Price is the first American, 6th place.
Well, for Tim Blumenthal, I'm Greg Lewis. That's the story from Bromont in the World Championship.